What's going on, everybody? Jonah from Rewind Recap Relive here to bring you another fantastic episode, this time featuring WWE Hall of Famer, the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, and the bloody-fisted brawler from the city of hardcore, Philly Mike Swanson. But first, let's go over the winner of last week's giveaway, our next giveaway, and our next episode. So first, the winner of last week's giveaway is Dylan Lake. Your comment was randomly selected, and you, my friend, are now the proud owner of this signed Jimmy Valiant autobiography. We'll be contacting you shortly. Have you ever wanted to own some Brutus Beefcake merchandise? I know you have, and you're in luck, because next week on the show we have WWE Hall of Famer Brutus the Barber Beefcake, along with a man who just made his appearance on AEW Dark, Mr. Grimm. And you have the chance to win a signed copy, I know it was a good catch, a signed copy of Brutus the Barber Beefcake's autobiography, Struttin Cuttin. Now, to win this book, all you have to do is comment hashtag R3giveaway down below in this video. And again, that's hashtag R3giveaway down below on the full Jimmy Valiant and Philly Mike Swanson interview, and that's it. You'll be entered to win. Now that that's all out of the way, all I can ask from you guys is to sit back, subscribe to the channel for more engaging content on the way, like the video, comment, share it around, but really, enjoy the interview. Introduce a rising star on the independent circuit who's been wrestling for 2 years now and has already won gold. He is the bloody-fisted brawler from the city of hardcore, Philly Mike Swanson.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And next, I want to introduce a living legend in every sense of the word. He's been in the wrestling industry for over 50 years now. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, the Boogie Woogie Man, handsome Jimmy Valiant.
Hey, now, brother, God bless you all. You know, hey, first of all, Jonah and
Yes.
Mike, you know, I want to tell you, man, you know, you all got it going on with the Rewind, Recap, and Relive, man, and I'm just honored to be part of this thing tonight, you know, and, man, I hope you have me back, brother. But, hey, man, let's get her going.
All right, thank you for that, and thank you both again for being on. What I'd like to get into is, can both of you just think back to your first match, Jimmy? I think that was for you in 1964, if I'm correct, and just kind of think back and what were the feelings that were going through your head then?
You bet, brother. Yeah, it was 1964, and it was in Chicago, Illinois. It was at St. Andrews in north side of Chicago, I actually teamed up with they were going. It was Billy Gills and Johnny Gilbert were their name, and they were a real hot team in the 40s and 50s, and they were towards the end of their career, of course, and then that's how we started. You know, they didn't have any at that time. There was a few. I know Louis Klein had a wrestling school in around Detroit, and Bob Saber had one somewhere, and but that was before, you know, Vern Gagne had his school, and that. So actually,
Right.
Yeah, actually, in '64, you know, I got taught, you know, it was on the job training actually, and you know, and they pushed me right in, man. I only did about 3 weeks of so I worked at a health club. I was a manager there, and I knew that it was an old time wrestler, you know, but when his partner came, and these were the Volkov and Nikolai and Boris Volkov.
Right. Okay.
Now I'm not talking about the Nikolai Volkov that teamed up with the Iron Sheik in the 80s or 70s, whatever Volkov, the first Nikolai Volkov, and Boris was my boss that owned the gym, you know, that health club, and that I managed. But it was, they were hot, and again, just like the G-Man, who we wrestled the first match in the 40s, 50s, they were red hot, you know, the Volkov brothers. Bobby Manigoff, and hey, y'all, check out your history, man. And in 1942, and that's the year I was born. he was the world champion, NWA, the same belt, not the same belt, but the same, alliance, world champion as Ric Flair and both of the Funk brothers, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, and he was the NWA world champion. Of course, he was agent, and he helped me a lot, by taking me under his wing, as the Volkoffs did. I was green as grass, man. Just 3-4 weeks of working with the Volkoffs, and when they had time, and at the Acres at the Health Club. But what I'm telling you, man, these guys, they all had 20-inch necks and cauliflower ears and busted noses.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
They were real tough. They would hurt you, brother. They wouldn't give you a chance. You could not. It was impossible to get into this business. If you were a wise guy and didn't play along and be respectful, and they would honestly break your leg, and you would be running out of there like a scalded dog with your tail between your legs, and and you wouldn't have a shot at it, man. You wouldn't have a chance, and they wouldn't give it to you, and they protected the business so much, and I did, and I just wrote a few years ago my autobiography, man, 600-page autobiography, and it's called "Whoo, Messy Daddy, Welcome to My World, the Jimmy Valiant Story." But 600 pages, hardback, it weighs 3 pounds. I tell people, hey, get you 2 copies and put one in each hand, man, and do curls. We work out with it, baby. But what I'm saying, I don't give our business away. It's just embedded in me. And after my, I'm probably one of the last of the, after the Mohegan, after me and a few others, go to that big ring in the sky, God bless, and then it's something that it'd be a loss. It's lost,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we protected that like we did our family, I had 3 little baby girls, man, and as I was coming up, and I would tell them, because man, they moved us. My daughter, God bless, time she was in 8th grade, she was in 14 different schools. So that's how many times we moved.
Oh, man.
And that was part of our business, and the promoter would tell us, he says, hey, guys, you can buy a house here, if you want, in the territory, but it better have wheels on it, In other words, there was no homesteading, and it was complete different. But we protected it, and I would tell them that at school, I couldn't go to church with my family. I couldn't because I was a heel,
I want to get into you being a heel because you were a heel for a good part of your career until you became a face. Mike, could I get your thoughts on your first match and the thoughts that, what was going through your head at that time breaking into the business? Did you step into it with a lot of confidence? Were you a little shaky? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
It was definitely nerves every single time, whether it was training or getting ready to go out for a match or just a practice match, no matter what it was. The nerves was because I cared, and I don't care about more than anything in this world other than professional wrestling to me. So like Jimmy mentioned, on the job training, I got training at the Chikara Wrestle Factory in Philadelphia for a couple of months, maybe like 6 months I was there, and so very limited training. But then everything after that was just on, like, at shows, helping out before, after, learning by veterans, local, Yeah. So when it came time for my first actual live match, it was a fatal 4-way match, and it was in Jersey, not too far from home. So a lot of people in the crowd knew me, a lot of locals around. So it was definitely nerve-wracking. But once I hit the curtain, once I got out there, it was like all the nerves just went away, and I felt at home. I felt at ease, and it was a breeze. Like the match felt like it was just fun. I had a lot of fun out there. I was one of the younger guys in the match. It was with two veterans, Simply Splendid Bobby C, and Sir Christopher Michaels, who did a short stint in the WWF and ECW, I believe.
Right.
But and another guy, Ace Hitman Jones, who I frequently wrestle with at shows. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and all the nerves went away the second I hit the curtain. It was like I heard my music, and I felt at home after that. The nerves will always be there for me, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think those will ever go away. But I'm doing what I love, so
yeah, and so the passion just overtakes the nerves. It's inspiring to see how much you like it. And so you wrestle as a heel.
Yep, Philly Mike Swanson is a young asshole of a heel who will get up in your face and just talk all this trash and doesn't care about anything other than himself and winning any championship he possibly can. Just the little kid that you want to kick around, pretty much, that is just will
Yeah.
keep coming back and screaming in your face, that aunt that won't leave you alone.
Right. And so, Jimmy, as you said, you were a heel. I read in your book that you actually went against what management, when you first got into WWF, they wanted you to be a face, and they gave you that ultimatum of 6 months, right? And if you could get over with the crowd, you would become a heel, like you wanted to. And why did you want to be a heel so bad? Well, why did you feel that resonated with you?
Well, I'm like Mike. I was really at my first matches. I was just so nervous myself and had cotton mouth, man. And you just
Yeah.
oh, you're a wreck, you get out there and you loosen up and you hear that roar of that crowd, and there's just something there, man. It just hook you, and to perform and just like Mike, man, I just started loving it, and I've never done nothing else but that. It's just about my only job I ever had, and I'm still there. I've been on the independent circuit, and this is my farewell tour year. But of course, everything's shut down, man. God bless. But I'm not complaining, man. This business has been so good to me, and raised my family, being a heel, Jonah, it was something that now, the heels come out, and some yay and some boo, and the baby face, some yay, boo, whatever. But brother, it was like night and day. It was like old Western black and white movie, where all the heels had black hats and black outfits, and the good guys had white hats, and that's the whole thing about our business. You got to tell that story, and let that heel get that get over on you, 3/4 of that match, and finally, but at the end, man, that cowboy, that good cowboy, man, with the white hat, he rode off in the sunset with the girl. He had the girl. He took care of business and all that. But when they switched me on Strongbow there in New York, and of course they were getting me ready at that time. Pedro Morales was the world champion in 71 to whatever, and in Madison Square Garden and Boston Gardens and Philadelphia, we used to run at the arena on Market Street there in Philly, and before the Spectrum, and now they got Spectrum's not even there, but they built that brand new. We were there, but the thing is, man, I used to have to hide my car. I'd have to come so early and hide it down the block and walk, because I never have a car that wasn't keyed, and or they would cut the tires, the bunch of glass, and brother, hey, just it was really serious stuff. I mean, they really hated the heels, and man, they tried to burn you with, they smoked in it everywhere, and especially the smaller arenas, and man, they're trying to burn you with cigarettes. They're throwing hot coffee on you, throwing beer on you, and that's just going to the ring, man. If you got the heat, brother. Yeah, if you got the heat, man. So my daughters, I didn't want them teased. I didn't want them. So I just tell them I couldn't go around their school functions. I couldn't be seen with my family.
Wow.
And it was really serious. And I'm trying to protect that, and I protected the business too, And oh my goodness, brother, I just tell them, they tell you, at school, that your dad's a salesman, and he is out of town a lot or whatever. But it was like night and day, and it was really a serious deal. And the boys, I would really felt sorry because if they knew your dad was a wrestler, and oh man, my hey, your dad ain't that hot. Man, my dad can kick his can, and hey, I kick your can, and so it's best if you're a bad guy, a heel that just don't even smarten anybody up as far as what you did for a living. And we weren't there that long, man. Every time, hey, at nighttime, man, especially we'd make them trips, hey, we'd be in different cities, state every night, and we worked. I was with the Crockett's in the '80s, and as the Boogie Woogie Man, we worked 9 times a week. There's 7 days in a week, so we'd work every night, so one time, and then on Saturdays we'd work twice, and on Sundays we'd work twice. So that's 9 times a week we'd wrestle, man, in the Carolinas, and man, they had 3 shows a night. It was just unbelievable, and of course I was so fortunate. Jonah and Mike worked the big territories, and I was in New York 3 different times, stayed over a year each time, 15 months, WWF, it was, and then of course, I'd go back to Indianapolis, where I started from, and Chicago, and I, of course, Vern Gagne, in the AWA in Minneapolis, and of course Tennessee, man. I went in Tennessee in '77 with Lawler, and man, he started a feud, with him, and brother, it's still going on. He just called me, and they're doing a something, or trying to now, because if the casinos open up, and he says I got a spot for us, Handsome. He still calls me Handsome. And I was Handsome Jimmy, in the '60s and '70s, and then in the '80s, '90s, and even now, I'm the Boogie Woogie Man, but always Jimmy Valiant, of course. But anyway, that's still going on, me and Lawler, it's just a great business, and I just want to, real fast, and then I'll let you talk, man. I could talk forever, man. I just want to help the young kids. I got a wrestling camp here. I do help, and me and my lovely wife Angel, and we've been here 30 years, and we train them every Sunday, and I got a Hall of Fame museum. I want to invite you, Mike and Jonah. I want you to invite you and everyone listening. If you're ever up in Virginia, come be our guest any Sunday, 12 to 4. We're only here 4 hours a week, and it's every Sunday, 52 Sundays a year, 12 noon till 4 o'clock. And there's no charge. Just come and be our guest. We got a Hall of Fame museum, and watch the kids train. And I'm here. I'm always here on that Sunday, no matter what. I'm at wherever I'm at Saturday night. I'll fly home early or drive all night, if whatever it takes, to get back. And yes, sir. And But hey, you can check it out at jimmyvaliant.weebly.com. That's our website. A good friend of mine, and man, what a job he's done. Brian Powell, Big M, and is Jimmy Valiant, one word, .weebly, WEEBLY.com. There's 2 dots there, and
we'll throw it right down in the description for the video. Definitely, everyone should check it out. And when everything opens back up, I might take you up on your offer if I'm in Virginia.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Mike.
Yep.
So for Jimmy, talked a lot about audience involvement, right? How is that? How do you think that's changed as being a heel nowadays as opposed to back then? I'm sure you don't have your car keyed or anything, but
No, yeah, it definitely changed massively, as he said. I sometimes wish that it was still that way, especially with me being a heel. I wish that I could. There are places that I do get genuine heel heat, but obviously in my short time, it's never reached a level of anything like that. And it's with me wanting to be a heel in my career going forward, and for as long as I could be, I aspire to get heat like that anywhere I go. During my matches, I try to interact with fans as much as I can. I talk a lot during my match. I just talk trash a lot during my matches, whether it's to my opponent, the referee, the people. I'm always talking I always want to try to get a reaction out of people. And with my entrance, I'm always walking to the ring talking. It doesn't matter. I'm always running my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm doing anything I can to get that heat. And you have those fans that they want to play along nowadays, and they're just like, ha, 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 you're the heel. And they think it's funny or they think it's cool. When I do get the fans that are genuine and they're buying into it and they give me the real heat that I'm looking for, that's what I love. I felt like I did my job that night.
That's a solid show, right?
Exactly, yeah. Like the match itself could be the shits, but I get specific fans in the crowd really giving me heat, real genuine heat, then I'm happy for the night. Yeah, with wrestling just evolving and changing over the years, it's open. It's flat out there that wrestling is fake, wrestling is scripted. It's common knowledge. So it's a lot harder to be a heel. And nowadays people appreciate heels more than faces, it seems. Like faces seem to get the real boos and the go away heat.
Yeah.
The heels are, wow, he's cool, or he's badass. And it's difficult, because there are a lot of people look at me as a cool heel, and I, in a way, hate that. I don't want to be the cool heel. I want to be the heel you hate.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and it doesn't make you feel like you're doing your job if they're cheering you on. Jimmy, what would you do if you saw fans cheering you? What was your tactics, to make them hate you?
Yeah. Well, Jonah, and that was very good, Mike. What you said too, man, brother, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're right on, man. For me, I'm a people person, and I love the people, but as a heel, I couldn't be. And I couldn't, sign or I couldn't talk to them. And we wouldn't even talk to people, And me and Johnny, we were a tag team for 5 years, Lucius, Johnny Hanson, Jimmy the Valiant brothers. And we had the WWF World Tag Team Championship belts in 73 and 4 and over a year. But the thing, we beat Dean Ho and Tony Gurria. And what a run. And then it was so hot that Vince took Bruno was the world champion then, and he took Strongbow and Bruno in the Garden. And this is the first time this ever happened, man, because they always had world champion tag team, but they always had Bruno was their champion for, I think, one time 8 years or whatever, and he was the champion then when we were the tag team champions, me and Luscious Johnny, and first time ever that he just didn't give him a championship match for 2 months in a row. We returned it, and me and Johnny wrestled, put her belts up, and Captain Lou Albano was her manager, and they put her belts up against the world champion, Bruno Sammartino and Strongbow, and these were the two top baby faces in the territory and in WWF, and before that, and they fed us everybody, they Monsoon and Putski and whoever, man, they just Victor Rivera, man, and they would put just every kind of combination against us, and man, we would just always come out with the belts. So when they did that people knew, hey, this is it. Bruno and Strongbow is going to beat them. You know what happened the first time we went through? There was a curfew there. In fact, Dick the Bruiser started at curfew, and there was no teenagers, no children under 12 or something could go to the garden. Now they do, but they changed it. But because they had a real bad riot years ago in the 50s, and with Dick the Bruiser, but the thing is, we went. So they had a curfew at 11 o'clock. No matter what, you had the bell would ring and the matches were over. It had to be. It was in the policy, it was in the commission, and it was a done deal. So we went through to curfew. The first match against Strongbow and Bruno. So then the following month, and then we came back, another, of course, sellout in the Madison Square Garden, and it was 2 shots with Bruno and Strongbow there. They put us on early, so there will be no curfew interference. We went on something like a 5th or something, 4th or whatever, and so we went like 40-something minutes, and Captain Lou just came in and got involved, and they smashed it, and of course we got DQ'd. We're all bleeding, Captain's bleeding, but we still walked out with the belts. And then Bruno came back with he's the world champion with someone else, and we continued with our run. I'm a people person. I just love people. But to be the heel, to get the heat, like you said, if they liked you or whatever. Me and Johnny, we were just real cocky. We had real big muscles, man, blonde hair, man, and all the fancy jackets and just different stuff on our tights. I was the one the first to start putting letterings on the tights and the back. I had a pair of trunks. All it said was "Kiss My." On the back of my truck, and anyway, stuff like that, and the people, we would, I did this one pose, and I really got labeled for it, and I sort of put both hands on my hip, and I just sort of sideways look up, like right over their heads. I wouldn't even get eye contact with them. See, where Mike, he interjects with the fans and gets his heat that way. Well, we did this way, like we're better than them. See, so, we wouldn't even associate with them. We wouldn't talk to them. We wouldn't sign autographs, and they just hated us, man. And just for that reason, and of course, when I made the change, I reinvented myself in the 80s and back to the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy. Then I could be myself. Man, I love people. I love it. Man, I stay bend after everybody's gone. Anybody want an autograph years ago, I'd stay and man, I'd talk to everybody and I came out dancing. I came out the music, first there, not the first. Gorgeous George came out. Ernie Roth, the Grand Wizard, managed me before when I was a single at that time. And then when me and Johnny came back in, he sold our contract to Captain Lou Albano. But Ernie Roth remembered that Gorgeous George, original Gorgeous George, came out to music, but he only came out a few times, and it was on TV. But he never did it in the arena. So I was one of the first, or the first, to come out to Madison Square Garden to music, and then when the Boogie Woogie Man hit, man, I came out to music, and man, because music makes you start rocking, man, and the people just loved it, and I'd go through the crowd, I'd dance, man, and I'd hug and I'd kiss everybody inside, man, and because you got to be different,
Right, you got to stand out, yeah.
Exactly, something. And now, who wants to kiss everybody anyway? But man, I kissed everybody: woman, man, child, grandma, grandpa, green, blue, purple, black, white. It didn't matter who. Man, I kissed anybody inside of me going to the ring and on the way back. And it's just, and everybody dancing. Man, I'd go up in the balcony, man. I'd go up and I'd blow up, man. It'd take me for 10 minutes. They'd have to play my song 2-3 times before I get to the ring, that was my thing, and I could really be myself then because I do love people, man, but before, I couldn't show that, that's how we got the heat,
It sounds like a really good time. Mike, you touched upon it earlier, how, everything's out in the open now, probably due to something, like social media. How do you feel like that's impacted the business?
Yeah, it's definitely helped as far as being able to reach more people. And I feel like that's why before all of this coronavirus stuff happened, wrestling was on the huge boom that it was again. And 2019 was unbelievable as far as the reach wrestling was getting. And so social media is obviously all to help for that. The whole fact that it is out in the open about wrestling now, I think that it just, people don't feel, there used to be wrestling fans that would have to hide that they're wrestling fans, and they would be ashamed of being a wrestling fan. And
very true.
There would be, that's fake and stuff like that. So now that it's kind of more open, I guess some people don't feel dumb watching it, don't feel embarrassed watching it, don't feel ashamed. So it's a lot more accepting. And like how Jimmy was saying, how you had to be a tough guy. When you breaking into business back in his day, there was no wise guys allowed. It's that so much more accepting as far as coming into wrestling as a fan and a worker now. It's like, obviously, bad attitudes are still not tolerated. Nobody wants to be around anybody who has a bad attitude. But as far as anybody wanting to be involved in wrestling in any capacity, it's definitely more open and accepted. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, because it does take away the specialty of being a professional wrestler, I think, because it's definitely a much more common thing now. And it's like, I think the larger than life aspect of professional wrestlers is gone, and that's definitely hurt the business. But at the same time, it's reached a whole new audience because it's more common and the wrestlers seem more like normal people, I guess. Social media is definitely, like, look at WWE anytime it's on TV. More than half of the trending topics worldwide are about what is on their product.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, it doesn't matter. And same with AEW. They're just starting, but it's coming up. When major wrestling products are on TV, the major social media, that's what people are talking about. And that's the whole world. That's crazy to think about. It's helping it and it's hurting it at the same time.
Yeah, and it sounds like the positives are definitely, outweighing the negatives in that aspect. I agree with you. Yeah, social media, it's like a double-edged sword, right? But it seems like it's doing it a justice more so than anything else.
Exactly.
Jimmy, do you keep up with the current product? Do you look at any of the newer wrestlers? Because I know, obviously, you said you run the training camp where you are. Do you see the new styles and what's changing the business yourself firsthand? Or?
I do, but I don't also. But I don't have to because my kids keep me up to with it, you know, and then
yeah,
because I hear them talking, or they'll talk to me personally about it, and so I'm up with it, and you know, going back what Mike said, you know, that it's so fabulous because you know, they got the 24/7 or whatever the deal is, and I don't have it, but it's really good because you can the young kids, you know, I mean, they don't know who handsome Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant is, you know, but they can they see it when my old stuff is shown. And or you can YouTube, you know, so many different, you know, interviews or whatever, you know, with whoever,
right.
And so in other words, the young kids can see that, and the kids, you know, Mike, you know, like when you started out, brother man, you know, you can study that, and you know, like what we do here at Boogie's Wrestling Camp Hall of Fame Museum. You know, we teach the old school, but of course we teach new school. You know what's going on now too. You got to teach both. But the whole thing is, Jonas, is that if I don't teach the old school, you know, that I grew up with, and you know, telling that story in there, and doing the match, and then. You know, it's like if your grandmother passed down to your mother a certain recipe of your family, and it was just great, and then your mother passed it down to her daughter, and she makes it for her family. Now, if her daughter don't pass it down to her daughter, then that recipe is going to get lost. So, you know, if I don't teach the old school, and then it's going to be a lost art. You know, that part, you know, is all going to be what they see today, which is great. Man, these guys are these guys are just unbelievable. The you know, agility, their bodies. I mean, what athletes, man. I mean, you know, oh man, I just love to watch them, but the thing is, you know, is something that I think, you know, just to teach is to learn twice, you know, and I just enjoyed that teaching, and here, and you got the both the best worlds, and I think you got to continue that, you know. Mm-hmm.
And absolutely, yeah, no, it's always the basics. I mean, they're always there, right? Like even today, even when you watch the current stuff, you always see glimpses of different legends that they try to incorporate. So now let's talk about the Boogie Woogie Man. I gotta know, because some of your promos back then, some of your work as the Boogie Woogie Man, some might say is the best ever of Jimmy Valiant's career. So can you tell us how you came up with that persona, everything that went into it? And
well, what happened? I went into Crockett's in '81, and I went in and as King James. I just got out of Memphis and with Lawler, and I was there for 9 months. Lawler broke his leg, and they brought me in, and they gave me his crown, and I was the third king. The first was Jackie Fargo, and then Jerry King Lawler, and then King James, and so but I was Handsome Jimmy, and so anyway, so I go in, and they team me up right away with Greg the Hammer Valentine, and we wrestled against Ebony Diamond, which was Rocky Johnson, the Rock's daddy, and Bad Leroy Brown. So we had a real good run, like 8 weeks, and Valentine was getting ready to go to New York at that time, and so about that time, and I did very little TV, and I was just rolling off the heat from Valentine, and I just came in as a new guy. They put me with Lord Alfred Hayes as my manager, and a very short time, and then Jerry Jarrett calls and talked to Crockett and says, hey, can we have Handsome Jimmy there? Come to Memphis, you know, and the following week, following Monday. They ran every Monday, brother, and he says, well, yeah, let me check with him, and if he, wants to, yeah, I'll let you have him, and because they, offices worked with each other back then, and
right.
yeah, and so anyway, they asked, I said, yeah, sure. So they send me a ticket and Bing, and I go to Memphis, and on Tuesdays, Mike, we did all our interviews back at the office in Crockett in Charlotte, North Carolina. Man, there was 75 wrestlers living in Charlotte, North Carolina. Steamboat, Wahoo, Piper, Andre. I mean, not Andre, but Andre lived in North Carolina. But, we were all there, and you name it, man. And Paul Jones and, everybody. But the thing is, so I come back early Tuesday morning to do my we had to be there at 9:00. We did interviews from 9 to 2-3, whatever it took, and then we hurried back, got in the car and went straight to Raleigh or straight to Greenville or straight, there was 3 towns a night. We'd go somewhere that night to wrestle. So that was our Tuesdays. And so anyway, when I came back, I was going to go right in and start doing interviews, and they got me first thing smoking out of Memphis, where I was back by 9, and I had my car at the airport, and I drove in and to Charlotte there, from the airport to Charlotte Airport, and so when I got there, Gene Anderson is waiting in the parking lot for me, man. He says, man, don't go in there. Don't do no interviews. Jimmy Crockett, go straight to his office, man. And at that time, Ole Anderson, that was before Dusty Rhodes took the book. Ole was the manager. The booker for Jimmy. And
okay.
So I go right straight to the office, and they said, man, come in. And they shut the door, man, and it was just me, Ole, and Jimmy. And Jimmy says, why didn't you tell me, man, that you're a character babyface, in Memphis, and as Handsome Jimmy, because I was heel for so long there. Now, see, because I went in 77 and as a heel, and once you get over so strong as a heel, people start liking you, like Mike says, and there's nothing you can do about it, Mike. If you're over so strong, and then the people will, start liking you, and so what I did was, I just turned myself to a baby face, but I didn't change my style. I was still a brawler. I'd pull hair, man. Boom, and the people, but I'm wrestling the heels, of course. See, and the heels, he's pulling my hair, and I just point to the people, and they lie for me. No,
wow.
He didn't. I could hit him with shoes. I could do anything, and so that's how you get over. And how I got that was from Dick the Bruiser. That's how he was. He was the hottest heel in the country, man. In the 50s, and then in the 60s he returned. Him and Crusher, they were both character baby faces, So that's what I did as Boogie Woogie Man. But anyway, so I come in and they says, I'm thinking, geez, what happened? And he says, well, Jerry Jarrett called early that morning, 8:00, wanting 2 more dates on me, because we sold the Memphis out. They teamed me up with Lawler, and he had something. They jumped him and had something going, and Memphis Coliseum sold out Monday night, and so now they want me back in a couple of weeks for 2 weeks in a row, and so he says, well, that's what we want you to do here, because Jarrett just really put me over and says, man, this guy, man, he can just do this. Everybody just loves him, and so Ole says, we gotta have a name. It can't be Handsome Jimmy. We don't want King James. We want something different. And I says, how about the Boogie Woogie Man?
Oh, you thought of it?
I did.
Wow.
Just out of my head. And he says, Boogie Woogie Man. I said, yeah, Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man. He said, okay. Jimmy, he looked at Jimmy. Jimmy okayed that. And then he says, can you grow a beard? And because they wanted to change I was clean shaven. I had the crown. I had the big robe on, as King James. And they wanted to get away from that. And the people, like I said, we didn't do that much TV because they didn't want to put me in. We just did a couple in 8 weeks because we did interviews for the town. But because they didn't, because Valentine was leaving, see, so they didn't want to invest that money in me and him doing the TV. So I was really TV free almost. And when I came back, here's what happened. And I says, Boogie Woogie Man, and I says, yeah. He says, can you grow a beard? And I says, yeah, man, I guess I can. And he says, throw the razor away. He says, don't shave no more. And he says, Jerry Jarrett, wants you in 2 weeks, but man, we're going to send you there for 4 weeks. And he says, so you'll be out of here for like 5 weeks or whatever. And when you come back, you'll have a beard and you're going to be the Boogie Woogie Man. But in 5 weeks, we're going to talk about, boy, wait till you see who's coming.
Yeah.
It's the Boogie Woogie Man. Wait till you see. They just put it over and over, and built it up and showed no pictures or nothing. And I says to Ole, I says, can I come out to music? He says, what? And I says, yeah. I says, I came out to music, and man, music gets the people going. He says, music, and at that time they didn't have no things. They just had the mic up there and that. So he says, how you gonna do that? And I said, I'll just get a boom box, that
wow,
portable
that's amazing.
thing.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Jimmy Hart came out and wrote Son of a Gypsy, and I would come out to my own music in Memphis, but there was a song just came out, Manhattan Transfer, a boy from New York City is real hot at that time, and I was Bill from New York City, so I came out, and so anyway, they agreed to that, and I says, you watch, brother. So now I had 4 weeks to think about, different, what else I can do. I didn't tell them I'm going to come out dancing and kissing and doing all this to everybody, and nobody wants to kiss people anyway like that, but I did it because it was different. The music was different. Everything was different, see? And that's how it worked. That's how it flew. And that's how the Boogie Woogie Man started. And, man, I came out, brother, and the music hit, and I started dancing, and I didn't even wait for the bell. I just started just brawling, just beating the crap out of this TV, first one is TV, boom, 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 and they better, they're talking. Finally the bell rang, and I just shot them in, gave them an elbow and danced and dropped the elbow and got up, kept dancing, and the music never stopped.
Oh, it didn't? They played it during the match?
Yeah. It played the whole match. I didn't go probably 3 minutes or minute and a half or whatever, and then I went right into and this was studio audience, and went right up to the studio, right up in the bleachers, and man, hug, kissing everybody, boom, boom, and man, it kept blaring the music, and boom, and I just disappeared. And man, oh man, it got over like $1 million,
And you rolled with it, right? You just kept rolling with the Boogie Woogie Man, yeah.
Yes, sir. And it's so funny too. That I reinvented myself on that, and now I'm a crowd pleaser, and everybody loves me, and I'm really enjoying all that. Well, I was one of the first to sign contracts. Well, there's probably about 30 people signed, Flair and Koloff and all the top hands there that was there in the 80s, the Andersons and Ole and whatever. But Dusty came in. He was the booker then. But I stayed till Crockett sold to Ted Turner, and that's where WCW was formed. But the thing was, I stayed there till that, and this was November of '88. So it was almost '89, 19. So I stayed there like 7, 8 years, whatever, and I know New York called me 2 or 3 different times to come because they were stealing all the good talent, from everyone, and
right.
But at that time, man, I was cooking, and I did leave for 6 months, and Jerry Lawler, and every time I'd go in, because they would call all the time for me, and they'd let me go, and so he said, when you coming home? When you coming home? I says, and I got tired of them asking me, so I says to myself, next time they ask me, I says, hey, you buy me a house, I'll come back, man, and it's gospel, brother, and I write about it in my autobiography, and in fact, Lawler writes it in his book too, and Lawler says I stayed 6 weeks and gave him the keys back, but I stayed 6 months, but anyway, it's so funny because half my career I was, 60s, 70s, I was heel, 80s, 90s, 2000, 210, 220, the Boogie Woogie Man. But the thing is, I was like, I've been wrestling now 56 years, and half that time, 30 years, I was on the big circuit. Channel 17, the Super Channel station, with Ted Turner going all over the world. We were the first cable to do that before USA and all these other people. But then I spent 30 years on the independent circuit, which is great. But this is my last year, and I was just so fortunate be able to raise my families, and I'm just so happy. And again, I just want to be a goodwill ambassador, and I went to New York I told you 3 times, and this is before cable, and I was an international star then because I was on all the wrestling magazines covers and stories and whatever. The first time in, it meant that when I turned on Strongbow and all that, I was there 15 months, and I probably had 12 covers, just a young kid, and just so fortunate,
Yeah.
Right place, right time, So everywhere I'd go, they would know who I was because they read it in the magazine. And this went all over the world. Japan, it went to, England, went to everywhere, So we were international stars, if you're in these magazines, and I was in all the magazines, for all them years in the 70s. And then the 80s, the first cable, with Ted Turner. And it's just the right place, right time. And
a really great feeling back then for sure. And Mike, so you're a very hardcore wrestler, right? I just watched your match of you winning the SWC championship, the hardcore championship. Really good match, by the way. I was shocked with how hardcore it actually got. Can you speak a little to that? Like, was it a hardcore match, your first match? And if it was, I'm sure there's still a difference between just stepping in the ring into a normal match versus what I watched in that match.
No, the first match wasn't hardcore. The first match was normal. And the idea behind the character, Philly Mike Swanson, I explained earlier, he's the asshole kid. But at the same time, it's a tribute to ECW because I'm from Philly, and the name Swanson comes from Swanson Rittner, where the ECW arena is. And so I incorporated that all into the character.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of my promos that I film, I go down to the ECW arena and I film it at Swanson and Rittner. And so it's that whole element of paying tribute to the hardcore. It was like I had to just like fall into that style. It's just like I naturally just fell into it, kind of. Yeah, the guy Vincenzo that I wrestled in that match and won the championship from in that match, he's well-known local New Jersey wrestler around the area. Not sure exactly how many years he's been at it, but he's well-known, and he's wrestled countless of hardcore names that have passed through. Matt Tremont, New Jack. I think he's done stuff with some other ECW legends on some indie shows here and there. But me and him decided to start this rivalry and build this storyline around it. It was one of my ideas. I wanted the independents, I don't like when they're separate from each other. I like when independents work together and want to work with each other and partner up. So I had an idea that if I could make a championship that wasn't exclusive to one indie, that was a championship that could be defended any indie that would welcome it. And so Vincenzo had this title, the SWF Hardcore Championship, and SWF is now defunct. It went under, so we decided we still wanted to utilize this championship. So we had the hardcore match back in January. It was the first week of January in Brick, New Jersey. Standalone wrestlings, Don't Cross the Boss. We had a hardcore match, and I won the championship. And then from then, we were working out with different independent promotions to use this championship on their shows. And so I rebranded the title as the Independent Wrestling Hardcore Championship, the IWH Championship. I had about 3 or 4 other promotions that were willing to work with the storyline, and we were going to, me and Vincenzo, the plan and when things pick up, hopefully, to still continue this, to bring this as a traveling storyline, a traveling program, a traveling feud to other indies, not just exclusive areas. And it's almost like I want to bring like the idea of territories back and just travel along with the story and bring it to all other places. So before the virus happened, we were able to utilize 2 other promotions. Outbreak Wrestling, we did an angle there where he did a run in, and everybody. And the cool thing about it was the promotion that we wrestled at standalone has completely different fan base from the Outbreak Wrestling show that I was booked on. So, like, none of the fans were the same, but we were able to tell the story through social media well, that when Vincenzo did that run-in at Outbreak, the fans popped, and everybody, it was his first time at Outbreak. He's never been there before. Right. They knew who he was, and they knew the story that we were trying to tell instantly. So we knew that we were on to something there just by that first other appearance in the promotion. And then we continued it on the Titan Championship Wrestling, and we did a similar thing there. I won a match there, and he did a run-in, and we did a brawl, a pull-apart angle.
That must have felt so good when you got that pop, that successful feeling that you did. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. It felt like an accomplishment. We're doing our part. So an interesting thing actually is June 20th. There will be I don't know if this is the first ever. I don't want to say it is, but we're doing a right. Titan Championship Wrestling is having a show in New Jersey, and they just announced yesterday actually that it's been sold out, but it's a drive-in show. It's you purchase a ticket, and the ticket is for your car. So pretty much you load in your car with as many people as you can fit, and you drive up to the event. It's an outdoor event, and it's all to cater and deal with the coronavirus, social distancing, what's all going on with the current events. So I'm very excited about that we're going to be able to have a show with all of this going on with an actual live crowd. They'll be in their cars, so it'll be interesting to see how that all goes down. But it's a really cool concept that I'm excited about. And they announced that me and Vincenzo will be having a match, and it's a Trunk Madness match. So pretty much the idea, I guess, is the loser has to be stuffed in a trunk. So that'll be interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask if you were going to incorporate any of the cars, maybe have a few, plants or anything like that.
Exactly. That's the idea that we'd like to go for. But yeah, the loser has to get stuffed in a trunk, and that's how you win the match. So I'm excited for this event, and excited just to see how it all goes down. A drive-in wrestling event.
All right, awesome. I'll definitely keep my eye open. That sounds great.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
Jimmy, what are your thoughts on that, a trunk match? What are your thoughts on the whole drive-in concept in general?
Good stuff, brother, man. Yeah, I wrestled everywhere, brother. In banks, man, in prisons, and were on the water. They had a float. They had the ring right on a like a barge float thing, and they had the people around. I've wrestled everywhere, brother. And yeah, oh yeah, brother. Hey, I've changed in closets, man. I've changed. I've been, all the big arenas, from Cow Palace to in San Francisco, all the way to Madison Square Garden. But in between, man, every armory, I've wrestled everywhere, brother, and I never turned down nothing. And 'cause it's my life and my trade, and man, that sounds great, Mike. Drive in, and the trunk deal. Man, yeah, that could really get hot and get over, and and have a good house, and that could work, that could fly, and that is really special. I'm telling you, and but it's good. Hey, brother, man, it's like I was taught, 56, 7 years ago, from right off from the bat, and there's no difference. This is a job. This is Dick the Bruiser says, at that time, they wouldn't let you. Well, I was a heel. I wouldn't bring my family anyway, but he didn't want the baby faces. Nobody bring your family, and for one thing, he's the baby faces. It's like. They had real good-looking, clean-cut kids, and they want the girls there, teeny boppers, and the girls to like they could have a chance with them. So you take that away if you brought your wife and she's sitting there, and then some wives maybe would be knitting or reading a book or something, and their old man's getting worked over. But anyway, Bruiser would say, hey. Now, if you worked in the mill, can you bring your wife to the mill? No. Well, this is your job. This is your work. You ain't bringing her here either, which is cool. But everything's different. I mean, whatever, and it changes. And my lovely wife Angel, again, we've been together 30 years. I've been married 3 different times, brother, and I just love married life. I got 5 children, and I got a dozen grandbabies, and I got 8 great grandbabies, and I just love my families, and I've been married since a teenager. First family I was with 17 years, and the second one 13 years, and then with Angel 30 years. So, brother, that's 60 years of marriage. I'm almost 80, and it's just my life, And Angel, she makes all the outfits for the guys, and she's got her own, business going with Angel's Wrestling Wear. And again, man, I just want to invite everybody, if they're ever up in the great state of Virginia, brother, up here in the mountains. Man, just come and hang out with us on a Sunday, and and Mike, you brother, man, you really got it together, man. I really enjoyed your philosophy and how you're thinking, and I know you're a good hand. I mean, I can just tell how you handle yourself, and just like Vince McMahon Sr. I worked for Senior all the time in the 70s, and that's before Junior, took over and Senior passed, and the first time when I left, and he says, Jimmy, he says, you handle yourself very well here, and he says, I want you back every 4 years, and 3 or 4 years, he said, and he did. He brought me back 3 different times in the 70s, and I was very fortunate to be inducted in WWE Hall of Fame in '96. This is with Junior. Well, is Junior. We call him Junior, but Vince McMahon now is Vince. He completely turned everything around, and man, I mean, just went to different scales. It's just unbelievable what he did. You don't have to call Vince McMahon Junior anymore, because he made it on his own. He did completely different stuff, the marketing and everything, and the worldwide, and he's got the whole world to choose from, but you get the best talent, the best everything. And hey, brother, man, I'm just again just love the business, and man, I love your show, brother, man.
Thank you.
And I just want to tell all the people, man, whoo, Message Daddy, Boogie Woogie Man feel good. I tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss online, rewind, recap, relive. Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Jimmy. And thank you both. I hope you were able to have some good conversations, definitely. And any final thoughts from either of you?
I'm with Jimmy, man. I enjoyed it. I really love the concept you're going for here. And if you'd ever like to have me on again, I'd love to do it, man.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot. Jimmy, you can't see it, but right here on the screen, I have the whole episode here was propped up, your autobiography. What's the name of it again?
Woo, Message Daddy, welcome my world, the Jimmy Valiant story.
So all you viewers, go grab yourself a copy. Definitely good for working out, but it's a good read as well.
God bless you, Mike, man. Good luck,
too,
son, with your career. Thank you, baby. I love you, man. And Jonah, God bless you. And, man, you got the hottest deal going. I'm telling you, man, you're going to cook, man. You're going to rock it, just like Mike said. And you're the best. You're the best, Jonah. And God bless you all. Thank you so much, man. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, brother.
Bye, y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right.
Woo, Message Daddy, Boogie Woogie Man feel good. I tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss online, rewind, recap, relive. Oh yeah.